Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Finding Fertility podcast. I'm Monica, your mentor in uncovering the hidden layers of your fertility journey. Together, we'll discover the right path for you within the 6 essential steps to creating the family of your dreams. We'll ditch the overwhelm, tune into your intuition, and build a vibrant foundation for your fertility. Whether it's through gut health, subconscious healing, or energetic alignment, you can unlock your body's natural power to get and stay pregnant. Your fertility journey is all about radical responsibility and deeply believing that your body is on your side. It's time to stay consistent, embrace trust, surrender, and create the transformation you deserve. Finding Fertility does not diagnose, prescribe, or treat any fertility issues. What we do is empower you to take control of your health by uncovering the root causes holding you back. Let's do this together. Happy Friday, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Finding Fertility. I'm your host, Monica Cox, and I am completely honored you are here with me becoming the conscious mama you were born to be. Today, I have Diane. I met her on her amazing podcast, Boss Bitch Radio, and we had a little giggle at the end of it because she opened a pole dancing studio, and she should have put a sign on the door of like, if you want to get pregnant, come pole dance. So
Yes.
I wanted to have you on and just share your wisdom with us. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me. It was fun. I mean, we really just met that day on my podcast. And I knew by looking at your website and your social media, I'm like, this is going to be so great. We're going to be friends.
Yeah, we're going to be
It's going to be
friends.
great. Yeah, for sure. Because there's so many common things that we can talk about and have experience with working with women. So I was like, this will be great. It'll be fun.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was.
exactly.
Yeah.
It
I
was really
appreciate
good
you.
fun.
Yeah.
So tell our audience a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. Sure. So do you want a little backstory or?
Yeah, we can have a backstory.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, really, my elevator pitch to people when I'm really telling them where I'm at now, it's important to really include a little bit of the past history because a big part of my mission is really teaching women that or reminding women that they have the power to do hard things. And so it's really a collective of me sharing my life experiences from becoming a single mom, pregnant at 16, and having 2 kids by the time I was 19, to then being married and being in a tumultuous relationship and having a third baby and getting divorced and being single. And through that journey, really finding my strength and my voice and my confidence through movement.
Mhm.
And one of the biggest pillars of that in the beginning, we all started with like the jazzercise and the Tammy Lee Webb and the Thigh Masters and all that. And I just kind of did it alongside my mom, but didn't really know anything about health or wellness or eating healthy. I mean, we were a poor household, and so that wasn't something that we did. And I really started to notice the effects of nutrition on how I was feeling. And it was like, it wasn't an awareness, I think, then, but I just was like, why am I always sick? My stomach's always hurting. I wasn't feeling well. I got up to like 200 pounds at one point, sick. My gallbladder was on the brink of explosion. And from then I had become real choosy with my nutrition because I no longer had a gallbladder. So I really had to learn a lot about nutrition. And while all this is kind of going on in the background, I was in the medical field for 10 years. I was working for a doctor. I was very like depressed and on antidepressants, and it was awful. It was an awful time in terms of who I worked for, if I'm being completely transparent here. But what I learned through that 10 years of working for a doctor very closely in infectious disease was really the effects of our lifestyle on our health. And so all these things kept popping up. And then eventually, on a whim, I decided to start a business with my sister, and it became a traveling pole dance instruction business. We live in a very small town in California. It was not something that was really accepted back then. I got a lot of heat for it. My kids got teased at school. I mean, it was like a whole thing. And it really started as teaching ourselves at home. I literally started with DVDs. That's how my business grew like 20 years ago almost. And so from there, it was really fascinating when I would meet women in this capacity because I would notice a lot of different things. I'm very like observant, and I would notice women come in and feel completely like withdrawn and like lack the confidence. And by teaching them sensual movement, like it was like a totally different person emerged, and lots of life changing things were happening. And that's when I realized I'm not just teaching people how to exercise, I'm teaching women how to grow strength and confidence that's translating into their personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
They're leaving abusive relationships. They're finally able to let go of perfectionism and overworking and stress, and finally getting pregnant, to finally chasing goals and dreams that they never thought were possible, because they're like, if I can dance on a stripper pole, I can do anything, right? Like I can climb 13 feet in the air and I'm 55 years old. Like I can go back to school and chase this passion, right? So it was just addicting to me. And through that journey, I got really fascinated with bodybuilding. And in my early business days, we went from teaching mobile pole dance parties to then opening a 400 square foot pole dance studio with 4 poles in our little Bible Belt of California town. And where I was born and raised and went to school. And then that was just so transformative. I knew more women needed it. So I opened a second location. Then we outgrew that one. And then we are in our current location, which I still currently own. And that business has morphed over the years. It morphed from a pole dance studio to then adding in boot camp. And really, the layers of the story are important, because what I was noticing is as women were coming in, they were feeling really great and confident in this pole dancing capacity, but they were getting frustrated, as a lot of us do in our fitness journeys, if you're trying to hit some kind of goal or whatever, because you really have to be strong to do pole dancing. There's like the fun, shake your ass part of it, but there's also the piece of it that like you want to climb and do tricks. So I added a strength component because I just started my bodybuilding journey. And in the behind the scenes, I was a bodybuilder. I ended up doing 16 shows, got my IFBB pro card. So that was like a whole thing. And as I'm going through this, my business is also shifting. And eventually COVID hit. I pulled out all the poles and I decided to go all in on strength training. Because I don't know if you realize this, Monica, if you train in like a kind of brick and mortar gym or if you train at home, but it is still very much that women are the minority in the strength training piece of things, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And listen, I'm all for like a body weighted and dumbbell workout, but there also is a point of diminishing returns. And some women are just like, why can't my legs change shape? And like, they really want that aesthetic. And I know from being a bodybuilder and coaching women to stage that resistance training is a huge piece of that, as well as for health and longevity. So I literally ripped everything out and called all my clients one by one that were doing boot camps and things. And I said, this is what I'm doing. And lo and behold, a lot of them were with it. I mean, I doubled my pricing. We went to small group personal training. And so from there, that was when I really felt like my studies started. Mm-hmm. As like why I'm here. Right. And at that point, I'd already had so much experience to add to that, but spending time with women in a one-on-one capacity where I've got 4 women in a session and like, I'm spending time with them individually, very closely. I started to realize the power that, women have when they actually feel strong in their bodies. Mm-hmm. And so really that's my mission. And my podcast was sort of just like my pulpit to stand on, if you will, where I'm like, don't do this. This doesn't work. Like I've dieted the most extreme diet on the planet, probably. And I can tell you for a fact, like what is and isn't going to work and what you can just like stop wasting your money on. Mm-hmm. And so really my mission now is getting to the heart and soul of like the essence of why women don't go after the things that they want, or they are people pleasing all the time, or they're sucked into toxic productivity, or they're feeling like they have to escape from their reality every day with 2 to 3 glasses of wine at night. Mm-hmm. And like all these things, right? Because 1, I've done most of them. And right. 2, I have also worked with thousands of women at this point. And there's tends to be like a recurring theme, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I'm at now. And I do mainly online coaching with busy professionals. Like I'm kind of consider myself the coach's coach, but I also work with a lot of empty nesters that are just like, it's my time. And I now want to invest in me. And self-care is more than just bubble baths and, going and getting your nails done. It's like caring for yourself. And that's such a foreign concept, especially for those of us that have been moms for so long, right?
Yeah.
It's like everybody first.
Well, and even, in a fertility journey, you're there already. Like, right? I think people who get put into motherhood young or like don't overthink it,
Mhm.
um, don't realize that when you're in that fertility journey, you're already running those patterns. So you just weren't kind of affected by the fertility for whatever reason, right? There's many reasons why
Right.
fertility turns off. I'm pretty sure I was infertile at the age you first got pregnant, right? Like, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
ever been a teen mom.
Mhm.
But we pattern the way we pattern because of the way we grow up,
Yes.
right? And so you're seeing these really common themes in women who are at a point of their lives where they're like, I need to take control of my life.
Mhm.
And for people with fertility issues, they can take that opportunity and go, okay, I'm going to radically,
Mhm.
do this for myself. So they can almost, what I try to tell them is like, it's not a gift. It's
Mhm.
crappy. I know it's crappy. But if you can look at this time where you can maybe do some of the things that like you saw after motherhood, where your empty nesters are like, hey, what about me? Because if you can do that for yourself now, motherhood could be a little bit more graceful, a little bit more enjoying. You're not figuring out all your bullshit while trying to raise human beings at the same time
Most
or
definitely.
feel that empty nest syndrome because you don't have anything going for you because you just
Mhm.
hyper focused on everyone else. And
Yes. And to your point, as I'm evolving, right, as I'm approaching my 50s and I'm looking at what my clients are coming to me with every week when they check in, it's helping me really pave the way for the girls that are coming behind them in a
mhm,
sense. And so to what you're to what you're saying, my focus right now is very heavily on the mindset piece of things. And I'm very fortunate that I have clients who are therapists, like excellent therapists, female therapists, and the work that they're doing is involved heavily with women. And so I'm bringing them into my coaching programs and they're coming in and doing talks. And that's something we're really gearing up for in the fall, even more so because they freaking love it.
yeah.
And one of the things that we just discussed recently, and it's actually a masterclass that we offered, was doing sort of an inventory along with journaling about this like invisible mental load and sitting down and like getting real fucking real, excuse my
Yeah.
language, but
Yeah.
I'm like, we are getting real. Like, you need to decide what you're going to do, delegate or delete. And you need to start, if you can't have a conversation, because I know that's difficult, then you need to text message.
hmm
It's fine. Push
hmm
send, throw your phone. And like
Yeah.
the first step is done. But it's really like down to brass tacks because it's like, I notice, and I don't know if you notice this, is like we can take in information all day and like, oh yeah, I should do, should. But me and like how I operate, it's like, let's like rubber has to hit the road or you're going to be here again next year.
Yeah.
And my job is to shorten the curve for you because I've seen it in other women and I just need to get you to see it in yourself too.
Yeah.
And so
It,
that's huge.
Well, it's having them take radical responsibility because
Mm-hmm.
we can give them all the knowledge, but if they aren't applying it to their life and really in those mundane moments, then, I've noticed in the past where you just have clients coming with the same issue again and again and again. And sometimes that's just the journey. Like you can't do anything for them. It's not tangible. Here's another supplement. Here's the superfood you need to inject, like whatever it is. When we're dealing with mindset, we can only be that mirror. And sometimes, well, one, I think you have to be ready for that mirror because if you're
Yes.
not ready to hear it, then you will just get triggered and you'll go back into victim mode and you'll be like, well, you're being the bitch. It's like, well, I guess I am being the bitch, but do you want to be stuck where you're at, or do
Right.
you want to get out of the hell and
Yeah.
move on with your life?
Most definitely, because I know for myself personally, as a coach early on, I was really, I don't want to say afraid, but I didn't want to have people be upset with me if I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well,
Oh,
here's what
totally.
I'm seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I realize now in retrospect, I didn't have really the words to sort of get through. I didn't have the coaching skills. And that's something that I then invested in, is just really trying to make sure that I was comfortable with saying, like, you hired me to get you on stage, just for as an example. And if you want my honest opinion, here's what I think we should do, because I think we're behind. Mm-hmm. And I would prefer that we don't put you on stage, because I know you want to win, or you want to whatever. So I think we should recalibrate and start to kind of plan something else. And I found the more that I could have these very transparent and honest conversations with clients, the more that they respected me. And instead of the latter, which it was like, oh, she's a bitch, she told me I'm too fat. Like, that's not stuff that would ever come out of my mouth. But it really is, again, having them taking ownership of that and understanding how much of a role that they play in the execution piece of it. Mm-hmm. And I used to get so upset as an early coach. Just like, clients would check in and I'd be like, why isn't she getting it? Like, it's not that hard. That was my mentality, because at that time I was living in my masculine 100%. And it was very bro mentality. And like, I just ate the 5 foods that were on this meal plan. And if I can do it, why can't you do it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I quickly realized that when I wasn't in that mentality for that show and in that space, that was not realistic. And I was expecting the everyday client to stick to those things.
Yeah.
So that's also a big piece of it too.
Yeah. And when you're working with women, and especially fertility, that's what we're asking you to get out of. Most people who are type A overdoers, you're running that masculine energy. So you're like, just tell me what to do. I'll do it. I'm like, okay, stop. They're like, no, I won't do that. Like, that's the one thing I don't want to do. And someone left a comment on my Substack the other day. She's like, it's really cool how you talk about fertility issues as the same as every other issue in life. And just your example of you saying your client, hey, let's not do this right now. I know you really want to, but I sense for you, we can't promise you anything, but I really sense for you. If you slow down, you take 3 extra months, you improve in these areas, you're probably going to see better results in what you're going for. And that's everything in life. And it's so hard when we're in that masculine and we want to control time and those expectations. And I think we're really good at pretending that control is the illusion, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So let's talk about that for a little bit, because I feel like the women who have done the work, they know the functional medicine, they know the diet, the lifestyle, all those things, but there's still that white knuckle aspect and controlling every single aspect of their journey. What have you seen in your experience?
Well, I know for myself personally that I resonate with that as well. I mean, I kind of had to, right, out of necessity for being in a very masculine type of sport, right? I'm very transparent on my podcast about the fact that I did anabolic steroids. That's not something I feel like we should be sort of pretending doesn't exist in this world as as bodybuilders, because I've been so in it. I understand that to get to the pro level, these girls are definitely doing that, right? And so for me, with being in that masculine energy, it was, I can control all these variables because I can't control what my husband's doing. He was having affairs, he was doing all these things, my kids were getting in trouble at school, and like, I couldn't control them. And so this I can control. And it just felt safe. It felt safe because it was something that no one could take from me. If it was me, and I wasn't going to self-sabotage. And I found that the food noise, the mental noise, my mental real estate was always occupied with just having to do the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And I really couldn't just be present, right? Like, I think so much about to the time when I was raising my kids throughout this whole bodybuilding journey. And I was present, like physically, but mentally I was like, okay, when's my next meal? When's my next workout? When's, like, I got to get all these things. I got to get in by 9 PM. Right. And now my friends crack up because it's like a complete 180 where I wake up when my body tells me I'm ready to wake up. I don't go to the gym at 4 a.m. I ain't doing that shit anymore. I'm not. It's like, we're not doing that. Are we still doing that? Like I'm thinking that to myself, how you were with the Febreze, right? So it's like, I'm an entrepreneur. I work for myself. And I've always like felt like I've had to follow the very masculine trend of like, get up at 4, meditate for an hour, like do all these things. And while there are validity to those things, I don't always wake up the same person every day. I have hormones, right? I'm a female, my cycle, I very much work around my cycle and my energy. And so energy management is a huge piece of what I'm really focusing on in the fall with our clients, because you can't be everything to everybody, but you have to show up for yourself, because there isn't somebody else that's going to do it for you. And if you don't, you will suffer the consequences. And trying to have so much control over that, or whatever anything else anybody else is doing, it's such a energy leak for me now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And those are the things contributing to the health issues in the first place. And we were running those patterns way before our symptoms showed up, our issues showed up, or before we wake up. And I had my journey was very physical. So like all this energetic stuff and patterns didn't really show up until motherhood. But I was conscious enough to go, this doesn't feel right. I shouldn't be feeling this way. And so I think back, I'm like, man, I had like 8 years to sort this shit out. Why are you making me do it now? Like when you just have less time on your hands, because your kids are, they shouldn't rule your whole life, but they do.
They do. And
And
it's expected. I think we kind of all
yes,
tend to realize that after a certain point. You're like, oh,
right.
my life doesn't really belong to me right now entirely for a while, but we're here
Yeah.
for it. But you have
And
to do your best for sure.
exactly. And what I'm trying to articulate is that the patterns that you're running now are going to continue to run when you show up to motherhood, when you show up to anything in your life. And if you don't like that pattern, if you're kind of self-aware and you're just like, this isn't healthy, just like you were doing with like, this is my diet for the next week, right? I have it all planned out. That hyper control and not that surrender of like, okay, I figured out my diet. This is what I need to do. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. If I have a blip, I know that's not going to hinder my chances, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm just going to flow.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think in your experience or like the women you've worked with, why why don't they want to let go of control?
Well, I think a lot of it comes from what I see on my end is they see somebody on social media. I think social media and diet culture have a lot to do with it. And I was a contributor to some of this. I mean, if you go to the first probably year or two of my podcast, a lot of it was macros and I want to vomit if I have to talk about that now, right? And it's really because here's my thing. The women that come to us are smart. You're only listening to this if you are a smart woman, okay? You're intelligent, you know better. And I have this conversation with high performing women who are running teams and all this, and they know they shouldn't be going 8 hours without food, right? We know that. Like, you don't need Google to tell you that. If I drop you in the grocery store, are you going to tell me you can't figure out what's probably best for your body? I think we're all at a point because everything is so advanced that you can figure that out, right? You know, things that grow from the ground are going to be best. But I think we want control because we think that the specific recipe is going to be because so-and-so did it and that person did it is going to be the exact same thing that has to work for me. So I got to check all those boxes because I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be infamous for back in the day when magazines were a thing. I don't know if you remember Oxygen magazine, but I was a valued subscriber for way too long. And I would rip out the girls' workouts and their diet plans. And I'd be like, I'm going to do this. And guess how long I could stick to that? Like 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't a pro bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's like sometimes they want to jump from A to Z immediately because they don't want to do the work in between. And I get that because I want results too. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But really the magic is in just enjoying the journey. As much as I hate that saying, it really is, because when when it comes down to it, all you really have is right now. So it's a matter of what's the next best choice you can make to serve your highest good for whatever it is that you want in your life, right? I really think that really comes down to it, and behaving as that woman and making the choices as that woman, right? If you have somebody who wants to ease into motherhood or is trying to get pregnant, what is somebody who is relaxed about it and is just going to let it be what it is and stop trying to force it? It's like, have you ever told your kids not to do something and then they want to do it? Yeah, like all the time. So it's really just applied in this context, right? It's like you want what you can't have. It's like the toxic boyfriend. It's like the sin. The minute you stop ignoring him, all of a sudden he wants to, like, you know, be blowing up your DMs. So it really is like just kind of getting to this space of do what you can control your thoughts more than anything about the process, and you know, eat healthy and live in a life that feels good. And I feel like those blessings that you're hoping for and the abundance with that, it just kind of happens sometimes for people.
Yeah, I mean, your fertility is innate. So unless you have structural issues or a genetic issue that cannot be changed by functional medicine, then yeah, we're talking about a different story. You're going to need that help. Luckily,
for sure, there's always the
times,
outliers,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But for the ones who have the working bits, who are showing up for themselves, the number one thing, and I would be interested if this is in your clients too, even from pole dancing days to now, they have no joy. Their whole life is sucked up in the thing that the thing that they want the most. And so everything else, right?
This book is like religion right now, right? Like I went to the library, and like it really comes down to that, Monica. It really does. And I've only come to do this work myself recently. Because I saw how much it was helping me and really choosing joy and waking up and thinking, how do I want to feel today? Right? Do I want to feel agitated or stressed out because this isn't happening, or I'm still not pregnant or whatever, right? Do I want to live in that? That's probably not the best, because that's going to then dictate my mood. It's going to dictate my personality. It's going to dictate how I show up for myself and everyone else. But it really is a thing. And I'm trying to infect everybody with joy right now. They're probably really annoyed with me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, like even getting down to a cellular level, right? Your cells listen and they react to the emotions. And I'm not saying that you can't have a bad thought or like a negative emotion. Yeah, when you get your period and you really were hoping it was, going to be a positive this time, feel anger, feel that sadness, let that shit out. But when you're ready, get the fuck out of there and be like, okay, this is what the next month is going to entail. I'm going to start roller skating because that brought me joy when I was a little girl. And you don't have to hyper focus on the things that you think are going to get you what you want. Yes, you still have to show up, do the work, but bringing in that joy and constantly, this is what I say to people, when you're in that loop, right? You have a looping system and you have those ruminating thoughts and you always take yourself back to a story, right? Oh, she did this, or I'm going to argue with this person, or oh, I fucked up here, and you're just loop. I still do. I did it this morning at 5 a.m. and I was like, and I say, find something that resonates with you. But this is what I say to myself. I'm like, bitch, we don't live here anymore. This is not who we are. We are going to end right there this week. I hope you guys are really getting a lot out of this conversation. Please come back next week for the second half. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you then. Thank you once again for tuning in and becoming the conscious mama you were born to be. Remember, I wasn't some magical unicorn who stumbled into fertility success. I stayed consistent, I put in the work, and I made it happen. And guess what? You can too. And I have something for my loyal podcast listeners, but here's the key. This is only for women who are feeling burnt out, frustrated, and stuck in the cycle of endless research. And you're at a point where you are screaming, I have tried everything. Why isn't this working? This only works for women who are ready to take a radical responsibility for their journey and start listening to their body's innate wisdom, because deep down, you know you can heal and achieve your ultimate goal. If that's not you yet, that's okay. Not everyone is ready yet to show up with ease, deeply connect to their energy, unlock subconscious patterns, and listen to their body's ability to come into full coherence. But for those who are ready, I'm offering something I only do with my paying clients, and this is a fertility breakthrough session. This is the first thing I do, even before I start really deeply working with someone in a coaching package. It's a deep dive session where we look at exactly where you are right now, what's keeping you stuck, and the easy shifts that can change everything. But fair warning, these sessions are very limited and go fast. So if you're interested in checking out my superpower for uncovering exactly what's been overlooked, jump into one of these free calls. They're deep, they're intuitive, and they're game-changing. The only way you can access this is if you actually personally message me. You can do it on your favorite platform, IG, TikTok, or at my personal email, monica@findingfertility.co. Not .com, because they wanted $3,000 for the M, with just one word. And that word is dreams. Obviously, DREAMS. And I'll make sure you get that link right away. Remember, this transformation happens when you stay committed to yourself. Trust your body, follow your intuition, make it possible. The links that you need are down below. And if you are still here and you absolutely love this podcast, please take some time and leave me a review and help other women like you find this podcast to get the support they need. Help a sister out. Leave a review today.